Step into the realm of daring ideas and transformative dialogues. This is Voices from the Edge, the podcast that pushes boundaries and ventures beyond the ordinary. Here, we confront the crucial issues that shape our world today. From the heartbeat of community challenges to the untold chronicles of leadership. From the relentless pursuit of social justice to the essential lessons in safety and lifelong learning. Voices from the Edge takes you to the crossroads of change. Because the edge is not just a boundary, it's where growth happens. It's where the real conversations begin. So lean in, be inspired, and let's explore what lies beyond the edge.
And joining us today is the marvelous Marc Miles.
Marc Miles is a career presenter and trainer. He has written a book on advanced facilitation skills and for over a decade has taught public speaking skills and content from the Training and Education Training package for Australian Vocational Education and Training. During his time in the Vocational Education and Training sector, Marc has taught the TAE package over 500 times to people all around Australia in various industries. He has been an instructional designer, training manager, and currently works as a senior facilitator for Spec Training. Marc's students know him as a dynamic and engaging facilitator in both the face-to-face and online environments, believing he has set a new standard for how online delivery can be done. Marc's book, Creating Transformation: Advanced Training Skills for Workshop Facilitators, was published in 2024. Marc has a master's degree in applied linguistics, natural language processing certifications, and has conducted numerous professional development workshops for various audiences across vocation education and training, corporate and entrepreneurial sectors.
Marc, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on, Tom.
I am seriously jealous of your voice. It just modulates up and down. I can't do that. I saw you once wrote an article about monotone trainers, and I just put my hand up and went, "That's me."
Oh, it's a trained skill, sir. It's a trained skill.
Oh dear. Well, for listeners, Marc is the person I always turn to for anything adult and vet education related. And so, Marc, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, today, Tom, I thought we'd address the topic of consistency and innovation and the tension that can kind of underline those two concepts in the world of learning and development and even in the vet training space as well. So the topic is innovation and consistency.
Okay, so consistency. What exactly? What are you defining that together? Is it consistency in delivery? Is it using the same old tried and tried methods that have got you success in the past? What exactly are we talking about here?
So I'd like you to imagine a company, and I guess this topic has sort of been birthed out of recent interactions, whether it's been with specific clients or even just pondering in the shower, as we do, Tom. You and I both ponder in the shower, I'm sure. But essentially, it got me thinking, all right, so we have an RTO, or we have a large company that wants to launch training. So what will often happen is a syntax or a training plan is created, and then you sort of hope and wish that all of your training staff go out there and deliver it in a consistent, ongoing, reliable fashion. And, you may put together your 100 PowerPoint slides and you're going to put together your slides like that because it's covering off all of your criteria and you want to look to be compliant, but also maybe you got some legislation that you need to cover as well. The challenge is, though, that the more restrictive that you get with the how it's delivered and the method and what you're covering off, the more that can actually, in my opinion, impinge on innovation. So if you want all of your training staff delivering all the slides because the slides are going to cover off everything required, it can actually then get a trainer, brand new or even established trainer, thinking, oh, okay, folks, that's the only way to train. And we don't want to think outside of the box. Because if we think outside the box, if we deliver any other way, we're going to not hit the criteria, or we're not going to fulfill the requirements. So I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from in understanding the tension that we want to, like, I don't know, human nature says we want to be innovative, come up with great new ideas. But at the same time, we've got the organizational pressure to deliver the slides because the slides tried and true and it's got everything we need to say, and it's going to make all the stakeholders happy. Does that kind of make sense, Tom, as I explain it
Yeah.
in my very vague way that I have there?
That's brilliant. And I think you're right. It is always a constant challenge. You need to think about, at least I think about, the slides cover the minimum criteria that actually has to be delivered in order to get the transfer of knowledge, for the student to actually get the knowledge to actually complete the subject successfully, at least in theory. But the innovation is what the trainer brings to it. However, this is the one thing I find in situations where trainers, facilitators, whatever you want to call them, do half a class and then another trainer has to take over for whatever reasons. That's where innovation can become a problem. When you've got a trainer who's delivering a specific style, a specific thing, they know the journey they're taking the student on. But the next trainer, if they haven't passed that stuff on, knows nothing.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your experience as well?
Absolutely. And I think I'm kind of speaking about this topic as from a number of different angles, because I have been a lead trainer in the past. So I have been in that position of, okay, I've gone out there, I've discovered potentially the best way to teach something, and then I've wanted consistency across my training team for them to be delivering it in a particular way. And then sometimes you have a rogue trainer that goes off and does it completely their own way, and you've got to rein them in. And then, yes, absolutely, the topic that you bring up there with co-facilitating is a huge challenge for either the co-facilitator, the first one, or the second one, and making sure that you've got consistent messaging that goes across the trainers, training team, and across the sessions as well. So, and yeah, the more that we ponder the issue, the bigger it gets, and the more facets that we can see that it really plays out. We want the consistency. We also want innovation, but there's got to be what I would call systematic innovation, so that people are not left on the edges wondering what just happened.
Yeah, yeah. There's a few other issues there too, and that is, you talked about the PowerPoint slides covering everything off. And you talked about we should present all of those slides because they've actually been mapped to the criteria that we're going to be studying or the students are going to be, covering. Have you seen many times where trainers have basically either skipped or hidden slides or deleted slides simply because they feel like the slide isn't important, doesn't cover anything, or more importantly, or probably more accurately, they can't adequately explain the purpose of the slide?
Ooh, getting into interesting territory there. Um, I have certainly heard it. I've certainly seen it. And I think the other end of the spectrum is trainers that maybe be sticking to the slides too much because they don't feel there's any flexibility to go outside the slides, and potentially they get too robotic in their delivery. So I think, again, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's people that take too much poetic license with the slides. Then there's people that just read word by word by word. And they do that because that's the way that it's always been done. And maybe the company has basically created this paint by numbers structure that they could give to any trainer that's brand new, that basically they say, do this, and we as an organization will get a consistent outcome. And now, whether that's true or not, and whether people actually walk away with the learning desired outcomes there, I think that again is debatable. And just because someone's gone through 100 or 200 slides doesn't really mean that they've learned the information or not. So, yeah, I think it's a really interesting place to look because for me, I guess if I was going to give 3 tips to any organization on trying to balance this out, first thing I would say is essentially have your training plan, have your slides, but then maybe have 2 options. So a trainer could speak on this slide, or they could use the whiteboard, or they could use a flip chart, right? So actually in the training plan, paint out possible options there. Second one is have regular debrief meetings. Now I know this is kind of idyllic and euphoric in nature, it's like or utopian in nature that people would actually get together and discuss these things, but have regular debrief meetings and innovation meetings where people discuss what are potentially new ways that we could teach this segment and get everybody on board before people go off and doing their random rogue different things there, right? So actually have debrief meetings, actually have innovation meetings. What a crazy idea, right? And the third is actually have a culture in which innovation in training is taught via PD sessions where new ideas are entertained, and ideally get all trainers involved in challenging current processes and actually maybe create some metrics. Try different strategies, measure and test what you're actually doing as opposed to the fallback measure of this is the way that we've done it. This is the way we'll always do it because it's just established and this is what's been done over the last 5 years, and we're not going to change anything because change is too scary. I really think now we're living in a time where we can't run away from innovation. We need to integrate it into what we're already doing and also manage that consistency in delivery as well. Those are my 3 thoughts.
Brilliant, brilliant. With consistency, and you're talking about innovation meetings, have you ever had some of these meetings with trainers and you've come up with the bomb way of delivering it, the new way? You've got a new video, you've got something you can tie in and make it relevant. And then you've got a trainer who says, regardless, I'm not doing that. I just want to do that. That's taking us away from what we've been told to do.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I guess for me, that comes back to I'll I'll say it. It comes back to cultural fit, and it's a constant challenge of looking at having the right people on the training team that are open-minded, and also creating that culture of well, and this is one of the things I always mention in my workshops: try before you judge.
Mm.
And I think if you can have a team that's willing to try things, then make the decision of whether it works or not, I think is really important. And it's just like any area of any part of any company, whenever we're looking to, I guess, test and measure if the established process is working or not, that's something that we're always going to come across the naysayers, the no, I can't do that because it's just not going to work for me. Well, I think we're always going to find those people are going to be in any meeting that we ever come across. But at the end of the day, it really comes back to are they the kind of people that we want in our training team or not? But sometimes, absolutely, we've got those inherent, I guess, challenges that we've got to deal with personality wise and even structurally as well.
Okay. You talked about consistency as in following the formula, the lesson plan, the PowerPoint. And you talked about they are great because literally they're put in place so that any trainer can literally pick it up and go and do at least a satisfactory, I can say performance. I hate to say it, but performance. However, should we always be aiming at just delivering a satisfactory performance? Or should we have the depth of knowledge about what we're actually presenting? So I don't know. We can go past the bounds of that consistency. We can answer questions that students may bring up on the fly in, I don't know, a relevant and sort of truthful and meaningful way, as opposed to just following the plan, A, B, C, D, you know, join dots type training.
Mm. I think that is the exact question. And I think that's the challenge. I think if I was going to have a magic wand and I could design the ultimate trainer, I would say that my magic wand, the genie would allow me to create a trainer that is able to bring the most up-to-date skills and knowledge. What a crazy idea. So they know the content, and they are able to cover off all of the criteria, and they are able to do it in an innovative and engaging manner that people walk away and they say, wow, that was an amazing experience. So I think that would be like my magical trainer toy or trainer. If I could, sell that to the marketplace, that would be awesome. And I think the inherent challenge is when we say this thing, this thing, this thing on this slide must be said in this exact way. Absolutely, we're always going to have some ounce of stifling that potential trainer's creativity or what might be relevant in that moment. And I guess again, it really comes back to like hiring capable trainers that are able to think on the spot and maybe move and groove with the audience. But again, that then creates the dramas of co-facilitation. And so I don't know if there is a one size fits all magic pill answer for this. But I just have noticed that companies, the more they prescribe, the inherent challenge is the more they're going to restrict creative thought and trainers really trying out different things that could, really take the training quality to the next level for that particular audience they're dealing with.
Yeah. I find for myself, and this is, I've trained for a fair bit of time. I still constantly, I like what you said about move and groove with the audience you got.
Mhm.
It's a bit more trendy than what I said, but that's just because I'm old, Mark, I'll be honest. But I find it a constant challenge for me how much extra should I actually put in for the students? And to me, my first objective is to cover what they need to know.
Mm.
And then if we've got time afterwards, we can delve down and go in greater depth, and we can look at all the bells and whistles and the fantastic things that are great.
Mm.
But I find it, you're right, it's not one size fits all, and it's not one size fits all for each audience. There are those people who are going to literally struggle with just absorbing what they need to know. And there are those who are really advanced who are just like, they're already there, and you can go, right, let's give them more.
Mm. Mhm.
I don't know if that's the sort of thing you face, because you're obviously a bit better facilitator than me. But yeah, I still struggle with it, weighing it up as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other part about it is, okay, I'm going to put together a program and I'm going to write it away that my brand new trainer that is brand new to training could go out there and run it in a consistent fashion. And when I've talked about this topic in the past with people that work in training or training departments, they've said, great, but then I guess the question becomes, at what level or what standard are you happy for the training to be delivered at? So we could design the training for the brand new trainer, or we could also think, okay, how could we potentially raise the levels of expectation and standards that we have for our training as an organization? And could we potentially be regularly creating PD sessions so that we raise the standards of our trainers so that our audience don't just receive the information, learn the information, but the organization is thinking we've got the best training team possible because they're not just trained well on the content, but they've also gone out and studied great facilitation techniques. Maybe they've read a book. Maybe they've read my book. I don't know. Maybe they've gone out and done some public speaking courses. Maybe they've done some things. And as a result of doing those PD experiences, they come back to the organization with a brand new perspective on what is training, what is facilitating, how could they integrate new ideas into how they deliver. And potentially it's no longer, the lowest common standard or, the bare minimum for training quality, but it's that organization making the decision to go, no, we want our training quality to be at this level, not that level. And we're going to foster PD culture where we regularly send our trainers off to take their skills to another level. But again, it's really tricky because you've got costs that come into play and you've got the whole, okay, we need to run it across all of Australia or globally or, across our 5 branches. And, it's just quick and easy and we just want it out there. So again, it's another moment of the tension in the marketplace.
Yeah. You might have noticed I do have a bit of books in the background, purely as props, no doubt. But yeah, I read this book recently. It gave me a few tips, maybe. But anyhow, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking today. Hopefully, we can get you back on to speak about some more topics in the future related to vet education, adult education, because it is something that is important. It's about skilling up our future generations to take on the challenges and job roles in society. But for now, thanks, Mark, and we will look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for listening to Voices from the Edge. If you like what we are doing, like the episode and the podcast, subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes and leave a positive review.